What's up, you guys? This is my fifth video for my little thingy. And this topic tonight is going to be about kids raised in the projects versus kids raised in the suburbs. Now, I was born and raised in the projects all my life. I didn't move out of the projects until January 2007. So, and then in 2008, I moved to live with my grandmother in Plymouth. Now, being raised in the projects and then living in the suburbs, it was very hard to adjust because for all my kids who was raised in the projects, you know how rowdy and how crazy the projects could be. And then for the kids I know that's raised in the suburbs, you know how, sheltered and quiet it is out here. Now, personally, if I'm not raising my kids in the projects. No, I'm not. Me personally, I would never ever, I wouldn't even raise a fucking cockroach in the projects because the shit I've seen in the projects at a young age is just ridiculous. I was 6 years old and seeing somebody OD in a hallway in front of me. I was 6 years old playing in the hallway. Old Colony projects in South Boston. I've lived in Franklin Hill projects. My grandmother lived in Old Colony projects in South Boston for 9 years. And my mom lived in Maryland McCormick projects for 11 years. And then my other grandmother lived in academies. And she's been living there since 1994, 1993, I believe. So all the shit I've seen in the projects and then moving out here, the kids out here really have it much different and much easier than us kids in the projects, because being raised in the projects, you're always, when you're little, you're always getting into shit, throwing rocks, playing manhunt, fighting, but then you got the rival neighborhoods. Like for the people I know from academies where I grew up around there, we had the rivals, which was Heath Street, and then in the Southie, we had the rivals, which was D Street. And then Franklin Hill, we had the rivals, which was fucking Franklin Field. So it's like when people out here start to down talk people that I was raised in the projects, that offends me because for one, I'm from the projects. And then for two, you don't know how and why we ended up in the projects. Like my mother and my father, both from Franklin Hill projects, born and raised. So when you come from parents who are raised in the projects and then you're raised in the projects too, it's really just a cycle. Like that's why me personally, I'm not raising my kids in the projects. I don't ever want to live in the projects again a day in my life. Don't get me wrong, I'm not ashamed of knowing where I come from because the projects have made me who I am today. But I have met this kid, no names, but he knows who he is if he sees this. He said he looks down on project kids, and I'm like, why? He said because y'all had free heat and free electricity, and y'all never had to be in the house without no heat and no electricity. Now, for him to say that, that's real close-minded, because I look at it like this. For one, if you in a house with heat and electricity, with no heat and electricity, don't sit here and blame us project kids, nigga. Blame your mother, because she should be the one paying the motherfucking bills, keeping the shit on. That's not our fault that we had free heat and free electricity and our rent's not no more than $100 a month. That's not our fault. And I didn't ask to be born and raised in the projects. I didn't ask to be brought here, period. So for him to say that, I found that to be very disrespectful and very ignorant. So when he said it, it's like, damn, what the fuck you mean you look down on kids who's in projects, nigga? You ain't no fucking better. Like, so then being raised in the projects, like, you're exposed to a lot at a young age. Like, by the time I was 11 years old, I had lost my virginity. I had already got drunk. I had already been high. I was already smoking cigarettes. I was already babysitting my little brother every day when I came home from school. So it's like, when I meet people out here and, like, they don't have the suburbial life, but they live in the suburbs, but they had to experience some things us project kid experience, like having to fight for what's theirs at a young age or seeing too much at a young age. I have major respect for them, because for me to come out here and meet kids who's lived in the suburbs all their life but haven't lived that suburbial life, it's very different and very unique to hear people's different views on it. But I know for damn fucking sure that people out here who like have the life easy, who's born with a silver spoon, they take a lot of shit for granted, like their parents, their fucking cars, their credit cards. Like one time this fucking bitch was in the mall talking about, I fucking hate my dad. He fucking took my credit card because I maxed it. Bitch, you mad? Cause you maxed it and he took it, you shouldn't have fucking maxed it out. I wish I would be fucking 15, 16 years old with a motherfucking credit card. Man, listen. So I find that very ungrateful, like especially for a kid like me who comes from the projects where everything was not handed to me. Like, don't get me wrong, my mother, she held shit down for us to live in the projects. We was always fly. We've never been without food, never been without cable, never been without nothing. I got my first cell phone when I was 8. You know, for me to live in the projects, I lived a good life. So I give that to my mom. So when people try to sit here and say, oh, all kids from the projects are this and that. No, they're not. Don't get me wrong, there are some people that come from the projects that give us project people a bad name. But now all the people in the projects are the same. Just not like all people from the suburbs are fucking drug addicts and fucking serial killers. Like, that's just not what it is. Like, just because you live in the projects don't make you the projects. Move, King! And just because you live in the suburbs doesn't make you a suburban person. Like, I tell people, it's not where I come from, it's where I'm going. So what? I came from the projects. So what? I had to grow up at a young age. You don't know my life. So before people say and try to pass judgment on people who was raised in the projects, they honestly need to sit down and just get to learn that those people. Like, you know, how was your life in the projects? What did you have to go through? What have you seen? So that's just that. But that concludes my 5th video, and I'll see you guys for the next topic.